I have a Nissan doubleheader for you. Today, we're going to cover the refreshed. Already? The Nissan Fairlady Z has been refreshed and for the better. Well, that's a bit subjective. We'll get into that, but the majority of this video is going to be focusing on Nissan sales. They haven't been great, obviously, since 2018 or so, but we're going to take a look back on 2025 and fourth quarter to see where they succeeded, where they didn't, what to be excited for Nissan. You know, I attended the Nissan kind of like a peek forward event just a couple months ago, and I let you guys know, hey, this is what's coming for Nissan. So we'll get into those things at the end of this video after we go over sales, and I'll probably sprinkle it in during the sales, to be honest, because once we go over individual models, there's a lot to get excited for. Guys, if you are happy to be here, hit the like button, subscribe. Nissan, I had the opportunity to sit down in October at the Japan Mobility Show with their CEO, Ivan Espinosa, and we chit-chatted. We talked Xterra, we talked Fairlady Z, we talked GTR, we talked Sylvia, all sorts of cool stuff, and some sad stuff too, like closing of plants. All right, so if you missed that interview, go ahead and click around my face, but we need to get into the refreshed Nissan Z. Let me get bigger pictures. This isn't good enough. I cannot find the press release. Luckily, I found the pictures, but I've scoured the interwebs and through Nissan's official press decks. I can't find the press release on this, but you know, for example, Motor One has information on this paint color. Is called Unryu Green, which is a modern take on a classic Grand Prix green, and we have new 10-spoke 19-inch wheels. But guys, the main thing here is this. Obviously, the green's awesome. I love green, and I love the tan interior. We'll get into that, but look at this front end. Now, when the Z came out, a lot of people complained, and you know, I wasn't going to complain too much because it was like, oh, great. I'm just happy the Nissan Z came back. But I'll go ahead and put on the screen the squarish grille that is currently on the Nissan Z. Some people love it. Most people don't. There's also the Z Nismo front end, which is maybe a little bit more similar to this. I think this looks great. I love the paint match at the bottom. I love the paint match through the middle. I think it looks a lot more premium, and look what they did. We knew that the Z badge was going to be replacing the Nissan badge up front, which is awesome, just like the GTR had the GTR badge. This is iconic JDM. Okay, to have a specific badge for the car, right? The Sylvia had its own badge, a GTR, the Z. All right, you look at Toyota and Honda model. I don't know so much about Honda as I'm thinking about it, maybe. But other models in the past, okay, from other Japanese automakers, they would forego the brand name, like a Toyota Crown, for example. And I could keep going, but like they forego the brand name, Toyota or Nissan, for the model name. And I love that. I love it. I'm so happy they included that. I think that's awesome. That's a great detail piece as well as the updated front end. Okay. Here are the new wheels, the new 19-inch wheels. I'm not a huge fan of two-tone wheels. You know, the machine finish on the outside, that's just me. I would prefer if they were all black, but you know, everyone has got different taste in wheels. Yeah, Fairlady Z here on the lift back as well. Okay, looking good. Here's the interior. And I've always said that the interior of the Z is better than a lot of premium cars. Like better than any Mercedes that I've been in recently or any BMW that I've been in recently. Okay, the interior, the leather on the steering wheel is fantastic. Now, what we have here is a bit weird. Okay, and this is the manual transmission. Obviously, there's also paddle shifters here. In order maybe to cut costs, maybe all of them include paddle shifters, and maybe the paddle shifters do something in regards to the auto rev matching downshifts. It's just really strange to see both. Now, this is also just a render. This is not a real car, so it's possible in the render, they're like, oh shoot, we forgot to take off the paddle shifters on the manual transmission equipped model. I don't know. It's a bit odd, but I just had to point that out. Everything else with the interior looks to be about the same. Obviously, a right-hand drive model, which the left-hand drive is actually better because just where the location of the manual pull emergency brake is, or the e-brake is on the left-hand side, which is, I think, a little bit more advantageous, in my opinion, for a left-hand driver. All right, so pretty cool interior, great. green on the outside and tan on the inside is classic sports car. You have the physical dials here. You have volume knob, you have tuning knob, just done to perfection. Great placement of the vent here on the door to reach your face. It's awesome. Nice job. Let's get into the sales of Nissan. Okay, this is the United States market. They sold almost 1 million units, 926,000. How does that compare to, well, some of the competition? All right, if we go to 12 months here, Ford sold 2 million. Okay, Honda sold 1.4 million. Hyundai sold 900,000. Kia sold 850,000. Mazda 410,000. Subaru 643,000. Subaru is actually pretty close to Nissan nowadays in sales. It's nuts. That is bonkers. Okay. And Toyota sold, let's see here, 2.1 million. Nissan sales, at least on the fourth quarter, were down 3.7%. If we look at overall for the calendar year versus the year before, is about neutral, 0.2% up. Okay, Infiniti continues to slide, and it just, they don't have product. You can't sell what you don't have. You have a $100,000 QX80, which is amazing. It's a great vehicle. And the QX60 in our market has the VC turbo. And I know that they're improving it. They're improving the logic to the transmission. I think I can say that. I think previously I was under embargo. The transmission logic and the tuning of the VC turbo and the 9-speed auto. So it is more enjoyable to drive. Just keep in mind, the V6 is still way better. Okay. And in other markets in the Middle East where they get, the Infiniti, which very few markets get Infiniti. All right. Japan doesn't even get Infiniti, but the Middle East gets Infiniti. Their QX60 has the V6, which makes me sick to my stomach, but it is what it is. Go get the Pathfinder, save 20, 30 grand, get the Pathfinder. And it's very similar vehicle. Okay, and it has the V6. All right, so what are some highlights here? Kicks and Pathfinder delivered standout performances. Sales up about 34% on the Kicks and about 26% on the Pathfinder. Now, Murano up 121%, but guys, one of my followers on the channel, he's a family member that bought a Murano. They don't like the Murano, the family member, and they have lost, I think, somewhere around $20,000 on its value in 6 months, the trade-in value. So the Murano's a hot mess express, only lease one. And even then, like, it's just, I feel bad because the Murano is actually a good vehicle in all ways, except for the programming on the 9-speed auto and the VC turbo. It's really bad and really laggy and really like not safe. Okay. It's not peppy whatsoever. Armada, amazing, up 14%. Okay, 24 is on the far end, and 25 is right here in this column. So Nissan up overall, Nissan brand, Nissan Division, not Infiniti, up about 1%. Versa, well, it's up 20%. Go figure. It's the cheapest car in America, or should I say was the cheapest car in America because it has been discontinued for the United States market. It is made in Mexico, so tariffs play a role here in the canceling of this car. In other markets, it's getting a complete redesign or massive refresh, however you want to look at it. But the Versa, yeah, see you later. It's a bit sad, but it's been in the market for about 20 years. Gonzo. Sentra, about neutral on the year, 152,000 units. When I drove through the lots, January 1st, I drove through some lots, went to the Nissan dealer. I didn't see any of the Sentras, new Sentras, I should say. Okay, so those are still coming to the market, all right? They haven't fully arrived yet, the new Sentra. The new Sentra is one powertrain away from being like right up there to fight against the Civic. It handles really well. It's really refined. It brakes well. It's really quiet. The materials are good. The touch panel climate control is a bit of a miss. But on the base trim, if you want the base trim, you still have a physical climate control, ironically. But you can see, I'm not surprised in the last quarter it took a dip. I think it's because they don't have the volume of the new model in quite yet as they switched over down in Mexico and sending them up through the border. All right. Altima down 18%. This is a tricky one. It kind of got extended several years, actually, maybe 2-3 years. The Ultima was supposed to be discontinued, I think last year, as in 2024. It survived to 2026 just because of tariffs, all right? And They don't have anything to replace this vehicle's volume in the Canton, Mississippi plant. The Sentra would make sense, honestly, but then they would have this huge chasm of production down in Mexico. But tariffs, I mean, it's just, they got to figure out how to navigate this as best as possible. But yeah, Altima down 18%. It had a terrible fourth quarter, terrible. Down 37% on the quarter. That's brutal. But let's keep moving. Now you got to, here's, it's not necessarily brutal. When you see these changes, the new CEO has been in for like 8 months or something. 9 months is all. Okay. And one of his big things is to reduce fleet volume at the cost of overall sales. Okay, retail is most profitable. It's most sustainable. Honda really doesn't sell any fleet for comparison. Toyota sells 10 to 12% fleet. The big three, I can't imagine how much fleet they sell. Okay, especially with their full-size pickup trucks. But yeah, Nissan selling fleet to rental companies and stuff, that's probably getting really, really stepped on right now. It is what it is. We're going to keep moving. We'll see what happens to the Altima. I saw a Maxima drive by my house the other day. All right, creeping because they didn't know where they were. They kind of turned around on my neighbor's driveway and creeped on by. Typical Maxima behavior. If I offended anyone, it's all in jest. Nissan Z, it's having a great year, up 73%, had a rough fourth quarter, down 32%, but maybe it's because they're getting ready for the new refresh that we just talked about. Now, what's odd about that refresh, we go back to this Z, there's no press release on it. It's like a by the way sort of thing at the Tokyo Auto Salon. Tokyo Auto Salon happens in January every year. Japan Mobility Show happens at the end of October every other year. Okay. And the Fairlady Z, ironically, at the Bay, okay, or their vehicles on display, the Z was a North American 2025 model. It wasn't the new refresh. Okay. So just really bizarre. Let's keep moving. GTR, rest in peace. Okay, so the cars overall down 3.5% on the year. The quarter down 23%. Let's get into the kicks. Kicking it off with the crossovers. Nissan kicks up 34%. It is one of my favorite and highest, or one of my most recommended cars in its segment, the compact crossover segment or subcompact crossover, whatever you want to call it. It is, it's great. It's roomy. It looks good. It gets great fuel economy. Leases are probably great. You get them for about 25 grand on discount. I think it's a really good car. Has great ground clearance too. If you ever decide to off-road it, yeah, it's a success. The kicks and the Sentra both need e-Power hybrid. Both of them get e-Power hybrids in other markets, of course, like China. Okay, it's unfortunate that here in the United States, the kicks and the Sentra don't have Nissan's hybrid technology, which is really, really good. It's pretty darn good. It's powerful. It's smooth. It's really refined. It's very similar to Honda's, honestly. I still have the CR-V hybrid here. And it drives really similar to Nissan's e-Power. Okay. Anyways, let's keep moving. Leaf. Well, they stopped massive production. Okay, and I just got done reviewing the new Leaf, which is fantastic. It's probably my favorite EV on the market right now. And you can get it for around $30,000, 300 miles of range. It's a great car. They had a huge drop off in production when they switched over to the new model. It's just unfortunate. They're all made in Japan, by the way. The Frontier, made in Canton, Mississippi, down 4.5% on the year, but had a great surge this past quarter. It's my favorite midsize pickup truck. So Nissan has decent product. Okay. Just some a lot more than others. Okay, the Frontier up 26%. It is fantastic. You guys joke that I say big V6, but it does. Everyone else went turbo 4-cylinder in its class that I can think of. Maybe not the Gladiator, but that's kind of its own niche Jeepy thing. So V6, 3.8 liter if I remember. And we're back. Sorry, the kids were making a lot of noise outside. They're riding bikes and doing kid things. All right, my voice is gone all of a sudden. Let's warm it back up. Nissan Titan, rest in peace. What? They sold 19 Titans in the fourth quarter. That's a head scratcher, literally. Pathfinder, fantastic. One of the best. Actually, it's the best buy. 3-row crossover on the market. You can get them for so cheap. Great V6 power. Silky smooth 9-speed auto. It's quick. It handles well. It looks good. The refresh gives it like the best wireless charger I've ever tested in a car. It is amazing. It's up 25% on the year, up 33% on the quarter. If you're looking at a 3-row crossover, you don't need to have a hybrid. You just want a V6. The Pathfinder is my highest recommendation, okay, because you can get them for a heck of a lot cheaper than a Honda Pilot, for example. Maybe a little bit cheaper than the Palisade. The Palisade V6 is good. It's just really slow compared to the Pathfinder. So I personally would pick a Pathfinder V6 over the Palisade V6, but the Palisade has a hybrid, which is incredible and gets over 30 miles per gallon. And let's keep moving. Armada, my favorite full-size SUV. I'm driving the Suburban right now, which like trades blows with the Armada. Honestly, it's so good. You know, so is the Tahoe as a result. Okay, but it's up 14% on the year, up 70% on the month. Okay, it's fantastic. Good on you, Nissan. I've been seeing so many Armadas and QX80s where I live, and these things sell great. Twin turbo V6 has great torque, great power, great luxury in the Armada, great feel, looks awesome. Nissan Rogue, they have to fix the Rogue. This is what's holding Nissan back, I think, the most. The Nissan Rogue sold 217,000 units, which is down 11%. The Nissan Rogue is just not competitive against the Koreans and their hybrids, against Honda and its hybrid, and definitely not against the RAV4 and its hybrid. Okay, the Rogue will be going not full hybrid, like probably like 30, 40% hybrid would be my guess at the end of 2026 when it gets redesigned. This is the most important vehicle for Nissan because it is the largest volume. Okay, by a lot. The next would be the Sentra. Okay, and then what? The Kicks, and then the Pathfinder, something like that. But this vehicle absolutely should be selling more than 217,000 units. It does everything well. And this is a problem with have been Nissan for the last decade or longer. They're cars that I can't recommend, do everything really well except for their powertrain. Their CVTs and their VC turbos just are a killjoy. I would only lease them. I would never buy one. Okay, anything with a VC turbo, only lease. Even then, like the Murano, I can't even recommend the Murano because it's programmed so terribly that it's just a lag fest. It's bad. Anyways, Rogue, once it gets the third gen e-Power hybrid system late this year as a redesign, it might just jump past the new RAV4. It's possible. You might be saying, Kirk, that's impossible. It's Nissan. It's possible. Will they beat Toyota in fuel economy? Highly unlikely. No one seems to be able to beat Toyota in fuel economies with their hybrids. Now, I think Hyundai can give them a shot, all right, or at least a challenge. Honda, they're always about 10, 15% worse than Toyota hybrids in fuel economy. Nissan, we got to test this new system in America to really find out what it's capable of. So I'm excited. I'm a big fan of, well, the Rogue being competitive again, and their e-Power hybrid, which I've driven twice now, one in the Qashqai and two in the new Nissan Navara Nismo. Nissan Ariya, rest in peace. In America, they got refreshed for other markets. Murano, yikes. Okay, now I say yikes because, well, sales are good, but I'm telling you, the Murano, they were collecting dust for a long time just because now they have a ton of volume from them with the redesign. It was a redesign for the first time in like a decade. And the Murano is like, oh, great. Hey, you got rid of the CVT on it, but the V6 got replaced with the VC turbo. And everyone's like, yay. Oh, because, well, the V6 and the CVT on the old Murano is actually pretty responsive and actually decent. It's a decent driving experience. Reliability long-term, I don't know about that CVT, but the Murano with the VC turbo, the new one drives worse, even though it has a real 9-speed torque converter automatic. It drives worse than the old CVT, believe it or not. So it's just crazy. It's a cool looking car. It's really quiet. It rides well. It handles well. The materials are really nice. It's one powertrain away. Again, Nissans are just one powertrain away from being fantastic. Put e-Power Murano, put e-Power in Rogue, put E-Power and what else? Pathfinder's great. I mean, it could benefit from a hybrid, doesn't need a hybrid because the V6 experience is so good in there. Let's see here. Frontier is already perfect. Leaf is perfect. Kicks needs a little e-power as well as the Sentra. And then Nissan's cooking with fire. It's just this slow rollout of their hybrids while the rest of the world has had them for years. North American production. This is interesting. I wish it was USA production because it would paint the picture better. You know, the cars are down because the Ultima was supposed to be killed and the Sentra comes in from Mexico, and they had a redesign on the Sentra. So it's just tricky. GTR's gone, but that wasn't volume anyway. Z was down, think on the quarter, right? Truck is up. Now, got to keep in mind, truck is anything that's it's light truck. So it's not only the Frontier, but all their crossovers. And this is up massively. You got to keep in mind as well, before the tariffs, Nissan was like, oh, wow, we can't afford to make our vehicles in America anymore. They're like, we're just going to make all our Rogues and all of our hybrid Rogues in Japan and then ship them to the United States. Then tariffs happened and they're like, oh, we actually have to use the plants we have in the United States now. Okay. And they're like, oh, wait, this is actually an advantage because, well, we actually have untapped North American production. Massive. They still have massive untapped North American production, Nissan. So much so that they're like, we can actually contract manufacture hybrids for other brands. So they've dropped a line for Ford, probably Honda, Chevy, Stellantis. They're like, hey, you guys need hybrids, right? Well, we're gonna have a gajillion hybrid. Well, not a gajillion, but we're gonna have hybrid production, and that's what the craze is in America right now. It's not EVs. Okay, it's not EVs, it's hybrids, and we're going to have a lot of hybrid production, and maybe not. We'll be able to use them all on the road, but if we can't, we'll build, maybe some Ford Escapes for you or something like that. We'll see what happens with them playing, the tariff chess game, but they're in a decent position in the near to long term because they have two massively underutilized plants, one in Smyrna, Tennessee, the other one in Camp, Mississippi. 2026 is going to be very tough for most automakers. We're going to see crazy incentives. I'm already seeing crazy incentives like Ram, Nissan, Hyundai, etc. Zero down, like zero payment for 3 months, 0% financing for 60 months, like COVID times incentives, right when it was lockdown incentives, right when things were, everyone was just like, being fear mongered is what it was, and so they're like, okay, we'll give you cars for free. How about that? That's how desperate they were back then. Now it's like, oh shoot, we have tons of extra cars that, people have run out of money. Things are just too expensive. And so they're like, we're just going to start giving these things away at this point. Massive discounts and 0% financing is going to be an awesome trend in 2026. Nissan will take advantage of that, as well as all the other manufacturers. Well, I wouldn't say all of them. A few of them, like Honda, haven't even begun to offer decent incentives versus competition. So it's just so much fun to see. Nissan, though, again, we'll recap at the very top. They're about neutral on the year, 0.2% up. Oh, I didn't go over Infiniti. Okay, this is a different nut to crack here. Let me scroll down to Infiniti, and then I'll get you guys out. Well, Infiniti is a hot mess express. I think their leadership is in a good position now, but the product is not in a good position. They have Skyline coming back as a Q50 as a manual. That's cool. Okay, but that's a passion car. That's a low volume car. Q50, they sold one, right? Because they canceled it. But that's coming back, I think, in 2027. And then 2026 is a QX65, which is just a coupe crossover version of the QX60. Unfortunately, it's probably almost guaranteed to not have a V6. And that, to me, again, it's like, I get it. I get that you have to plan years in advance, and all of a sudden, the mission laws change, and then it's like, well, we've done all the R&D and the testing and all the certifications on the VC turbo. All right, it would cost us an arm and a leg to do that all over again with the V6. But the thing is like, well, the V6 will build retention. The VC turbo, not so much. The QX60 is at one of the top vehicles in its class with the V6, and without the V6, I'm like, it's fire sale only. It's a tough sell. And the QX80, The only reason it's a tough sell is because the Armada is so good and it's the same vehicle, just different styling, slightly different interiors, slightly different equipment. But QX80 is still fantastic. It's one of the best luxury. Like, I would take it over an Escalade without hesitation. QX80 is fantastic, up 31% on the year, 24% on the month. And that's it. They have two cars, QX60, QX80. One fantastic, one is like, fire sale only, lease special sort of thing. Their sales are not good. Down 9% on the year, down 8% quarterly. The Q50 will help a little bit. It'll be styled well. It'll have a manual option. It's going to be actually pretty fun. And I know it's going to be gorgeous because Infiniti designs like the new that's the thing. The QX60 is gorgeous in the sport trim. And it's just like, well, the VC turbo kills it all. Kills it. And Infiniti knows that. I told them, and I had a discussion with this guy right here, Tiago Castro, U.S. marketing sales. He's pretty much CEO of Infiniti, and he knows that, like, hey, the VC turbo is not really what people want, but it's what they had to do for emissions reasons. All right, but I'm going to shut it down there. I appreciate you guys. Do you think Nissan's going to have a strong 2026? I think they're in an okay position, but the cavalry's coming. The cavalry in the name of e-Power is coming for the Rogue. It will save the Rogue. And as they bring it to more more models within the brand, okay, if they bring it to the Kicks, the Pathfinder, the Sentra, they're going to be amazing. They're going to be fantastic. They have the technology. They just have to source it, build up the parts supply or whatever, the supplier network to build those e-Power hybrids, all the batteries and whatnot. And once it comes to the market, they're going to do great. Okay. In the meantime, it's just like, hold the line. And then the cavalry's coming in e-Power later this year, and hopefully many more adaptations in the near future as well. Thank you guys. Stay tuned for more Nissan updates, and I'll check you in the comments. Chat it up down there as always. Thank you and peace.